Hey guys, so yeah, I haven't done this in a while. I am hanging out here, in Pasadena. Got a couple weeks before the next MSE intensive. I'm sitting here watching my main man Rory McIlroy run away with the RBC Canadian Open, and one of the reasons why I thought that this might be a good time to do an Ask Me Anything is because the biggest influence on my golf swing right now is Rory McIlroy. And I don't do, the only major difference is that he's flexible enough to keep his lead heel on the ground, but I'm 50 years old and I don't keep my lead heel down. But here he is on 17, about to, let's see here, rip it down here. Yeah, Rory's looking great for the US Open. Man. Yeah, so he just carried that 315 on number 17. So I want to talk for a second. There's a whole bunch of things I could talk about, but I want to talk about philosophy and I want to talk about my golf swing and what I'm trying to do. Okay, better compression with blades or muscle backs or more forgiving irons. Well, most muscle backs are in the blade category, and my PTX Pros, I believe from 8 iron down, they're solid piece construction, and then the later ones, they become hollow on the inside for some of that. Uh, oh, I'm starting to get a lot of questions, guys. Guys, I may need you to ask these questions again. Let me just get set up here for a second and explain what I was thinking. So the first thing I want to say is the way that I approach all the things in my life, and this has been the way I've done this for about 30 years, is I've really, since my martial arts days, embraced a concept from Zen called Shoshin, which is a Zen mind is a beginner's mind. And the point of that is, to the expert, there are few possibilities. To the beginner, there are many. And I realized when I finally, about 10 years ago, when video cameras, like flip video cameras and phones started to have, decent video, I saw my golf swing. And I was literally under the impression that I thought I had a good golf swing. And it's amazing how we can fool ourselves. I mean, this is a deep subject, but because I had loved golf for 30 years and because I'd taken lessons with David Ledbetter, I thought I knew a lot. Ask me again about George Gankas. That's an interesting question. I thought I knew a lot about the golf swing, but it turns out that I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I knew about between 2 and 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 about the golf swing. I would say today I'm around 7 or 8. I'm pretty proud of that. And I think that that's, 10 years of solid work to get to that level. And I don't think, hey, Jamie, come on out if you need a lesson. I don't think that, I don't think you can master the game of golf. You have to kind of like let it come to you. And, but I've been on a journey of, once I realized I didn't really know about the golf swing, it was my ego that was in my way. So a lot of the work that I do is based around understanding my own mind and how that works. And technique is only a part of it. But what's really important is you understand, I have an approach that I've used over and over again. When after I became the Florida Open karate champion, I was in a movie, and then I was like, man, I'd like to be in karate movies, for a living. So I changed my major to theater, and then I learned how to become an actor, and I became a professional ballet dancer using the same Shoshin approach. Like, I'm just a beginner, absolute beginner, focus on the fundamentals, because the quality of your fundamentals directly affects how good you're going to become. It is so crucial because it's your foundation that you're going to build on top of. And I learned as a professional ballet dancer, I remember somebody telling me, oh, well, a pro dancer, they just as happy taking a basic fundamentals or beginner's class as an advanced class. And that really stuck with me. And the reason why is because you can always work on your fundamentals. You can always iron them out. And every single golf swing that you make is a unique, never to be repeated again golf swing. So every single time you're starting over again. It's like the first time, it's the only time you're ever going to make that swing. So it's continually fresh. And so working on your fundamentals, I mean, that's how I start every range session. Now, I recently did 2 hours at the driving range where I reviewed the PTX irons and then I reviewed my GS53 driver. And this thumb is sore because I hit balls for 2 hours because I was puring the ball. And the funny thing is, I knew if I was going to be swinging on camera, I spent 20, 30 minutes stretching, warming up, slowly getting into the swing, quarter shots, half shots, three-quarter shots, before I ever started to even think about reviewing any clubs. And what happens when I do a really good practice session like that is I prepare myself to really be able to hit the ball well. And that afternoon was just, it was Shangri-La. It was like, there's nothing better than a great golf shot. So, gosh, I'm getting a lot more questions than I thought, right off the bat, but I really felt like I needed to talk about some of this stuff just to get started. So your fundamentals are the key to your golf swing. And regardless of where you are in your golf swing, I really believe that the simplest thing that you can focus on is your balance. If you can keep your balance at the top of your backswing and keep your balance at the finish of your swing, then you're well on your way. Like those are the two benchmarks in your golf swing, And as I watch Rory, consequently, that's why I love his golf swing, is he's just got outstanding balance at the top of his backswing and at his finish. So try and stick your finishes, because your misses will go away much quicker if that's the case. So I got a question about George Gankas, and I've reached out to George. I think he's got a lot of great energy. He's obviously got a lot of really great golfers, and I think that he's a really unique character in the game of golf, and I think he's good for the game of golf, and I applaud anyone who wants to help people get better at the game of golf. But I find that his instruction is a little bit outside of the model of what I would pursue, and it's a very modern type of swing, although he is influenced, it seems, by Sam Snead. He really likes Sam Snead a lot. And it's just that kind of corkscrewy way that he works the lower body is, I believe, in contradiction to what I'm trying to do with my lower body. I work on the squeeze pivot with my lower body. When you look at Ben Hogan, he and Snead coming into the ball, their knees are pretty far apart, but Mr. Hogan, you'll see, and Sam Snead, their knees really pull together at the finish of the swing. So this is the work that I'm doing in yoga is really helping me to understand this, that, the way the body works. Basically, the spine works in flexion like this forward. That's one of the ways it works, and the arms work to come together. And so that's part of what, it's the same way a pirouette works, is the way I see it, and that's the same way the golf swing works. And I'm expecting to do a lot more work on this with biomechanicists and what have you. So I don't know enough about George to really talk about it, but at any rate, the golf teachers that I really, if I'm looking at golf teachers, like my big thing is like, how good is their golf swing? Like, I want to see a golf teacher that's got a beautiful golf swing. That's me personally. A lot of the most famous golf teachers in the world don't really have pleasing golf swings, in my opinion. And that's one of the things that I really, really enjoy to watch. It's just my thing, is like the aesthetics that I carry from martial arts and ballet are a big part of my swing evolution. yoga or weightlifting, what is more important? Lewis, that is a great question. If I had to pick between the two, I would pick yoga 100%. And the reason is yoga straight up changed my life. I've been practicing yoga for a long time. The first time on my channel 5 years ago when I shot 2 under par, I was in the car before that round talking about Tiger Woods, saying he needs to stop the powerlifting and he needs to just do yoga. And I've been doing yoga for a long time, but it wasn't until after I ruptured my Achilles tendon that I realized, look, dude, you're freaking done unless you do something to really fix your body. And my doctor encouraged me. She said, you know, if you get into yoga, that leg might come back. And my gosh, what's come from that is like, it's literally changed my life. I have now lost I've lost over 45 pounds from the beginning of my swing evolution. And it's largely due to yoga. And so when you're in yoga, what happens is it's really a meditation. You're forcing your body into positions that cause your breath to become restricted, okay? And what happens psychologically when your breath becomes restricted is it triggers the fight or flight response, and your mind starts to race. And then all these thoughts come up in your mind. And from doing yoga many, many times through the years, people, you know, what I experience is like, oh my gosh, get me the hell out of here. I've only been in here 10 minutes, but I can't take it. I got to get out of here. But by getting, you know, really taking yoga seriously, now I'm taking it to deeper and deeper levels. Now, and I'll tell you something, when I say that, gosh, people keep asking me about clearing the hips. So let me finish this yoga story, and then I'm going to talk about clearing the hips. So as I've gone deeper and deeper into yoga and incorporated other forms of meditation into my daily and weekly routine, I've cleared out a bunch of the bullshit from my life. That's the only way to say it. Is like, as you get clearer and clearer in your head, it's like, imagine this. Imagine your head is like a computer, and the thoughts, like your little voice that you talk to yourself, is like you send an email to yourself like, oh, listen, man, you got to go to the gym, or you got to do this, or you got to do that. And because of our social media age, we don't really get to spend very much time alone with our thoughts. That's why I love to go to the range. I like to go to the range as maybe more than playing on the course, because it's a meditation. And what it allows you to do when you're alone with yourself is it's like you've got 10,000 emails backed up in your mind, but when you meditate, you can start to clear those emails out, those thoughts, those little voices that you ignore and you know you should do. But that's what's led me to the place where I am now. And that's why the reason why I've lost another 10 pounds in the last 3 months is because I quit drinking. You know, I've been kind of the party guy my whole life. And, you know, it's a big thing. But one of the things that I realized at my age now, at 50, and I'm working on this, you know, I've been working towards MSE fitness program. And while I'm meditating, one of the things that has come up is like, man, you'd be in way better shape if you quit drinking. And I have ordered a glass of wine at social functions, so I'm not like some weirdo. I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again, but that automatic finish the round, hit the 19th hole, and, you know, drink too much. Now, that's the thing that really drove me crazy, is those occasions when I'd wake up with a hangover, and then the next day is half shot because I'm hungover, you know? And with the Hogan special and all the things I'm focusing on right now, it just meant that I had to, you know, what do I want more? You know, what I really want more is to have the life that I've always dreamed of. I want to be fit. I think that fitness has been the foundation of all the things that I've loved in my life. Karate, martial arts, jiu-jitsu. I'm back in jiu-jitsu with my main man, Eddie Bravo. By the way, I got to tell you, Eddie Bravo coaches Tony Ferguson. Last night, Tony Ferguson kicked the crap out of Donald Cerrone. Oh my goodness, that was scary. So congratulations, Eddie. And we're talking about doing another film together. So I'm back in jiu-jitsu in downtown LA at 10th Planet Fitness, and it's something. I'll tell you something, like my gosh, I roll into 10th Planet Fitness in downtown LA, and I haven't been there for about 4 years because I hurt my shoulder when I was doing it last time. And then Edgar, Eddie, all these, everybody's like saying, "Hey man, what's up? How you doing, Christo? Hey man," and and it's like I forget that there's this whole martial arts world that's what I was in. That's my home. That's where I'm a badass. I mean, that's where I was my best. Winning the Florida Open, the Florida Games, the Tampa Super Fights, the Olympic trials in Florida, and all that stuff. I mean, that's my competitive days. Golf, I've never really gotten to where, I'm like taking on national champions and stuff like that. So, but golf is my meditation and great passion. So congratulations, Eddie. And then the Viking, my main man, Michael Lundberg, just won a Euro Pro Tour event in England over 156 other pros. So that's awesome. So I'm really excited about, my friends doing exceptional things, and I want to do exceptional things. That's what I live for, So let me tell you about clearing the hips. The biggest reason I believe why I couldn't clear my hips, and I'm still working on it, I'm always going to have my El Guapos. That's my things that are just habitual, that were in my bad swing, okay? I swung with my head I would lunge my head in front of the ball, okay? If your head isn't behind the ball and your hips don't get ahead of you, your body is stacked on top of each other and your lower body doesn't have room, and you get that squinchy, hurting back problem. You have to make a good weight shift while keeping your head behind the ball. That gives you the length in the spine to be able to rotate your lower body out from underneath you. That's the answer, okay? Now, it's a little bit trickier than that. I've found that I did that video recently where I was keeping my left arm connected to my chest. And by doing that and letting my lower body lead the way, that is the most clearance I've ever had. Okay? So, that's the thing that I discovered about that. It's not, however, my hips still move off my tush line a little bit. That's something I'm working on now. Rory is the master of that. But it's the funniest thing when you talk about early extension and rotating the hips. Jack Nicklaus is the greatest golfer of all time, in major championships, certainly. And he had a little bit of early extension. Can you believe that? Check it out. It's kind of funny. There was another famous pro I was looking at. Brent Snedeker has a little bit of it. So you can shoot some really great scores, with that. But as far as the reason why Ben Hogan is the greatest swinger of the golf club in my mind is what Brandel Chambly says is he has no compensations. He doesn't have to do anything because of something else. It just all works in a perfect motion. And that's my goal with my golf swing right now. So this is an interesting thing I'd like to tell you guys about, is the main goal for my swing evolution right now is the perfect golf swing. There will never be a perfect golf swing, and I'll never be perfect. Just like I said, every golf swing is a unique occurrence in the history of the world, so you can never duplicate it. But I'm really trying to find that swing with no compensations, if that's at all possible for my body. My spine is, I'm 50. My spine isn't super duper flexible. I try to go to yoga every day. I probably go 6 days a week right now. That's what I've been averaging since I'm training to be a yoga teacher. And what another amazing world, like I said, about what it's doing for me mentally and everything else. But at any rate, that's my goal right now, is to have the greatest swing that I can have, which is free and smooth without compensations. What's the flamingo drill? I'm gonna have to look that up. Somebody said that try to flamingo drill to try and clear your hips. Another thing that helps to clear the hips, I've found, is to let the arms come along for the ride. If the arms, once the shoulders start to move, your core has to lock down. And in order for your upper body to be able to have, support and strength. So you have to get your lower body, your weight shift to your lead side, and let the lower body start to work in order, for it not to get locked down too early in the golf swing. Most people want to use their arms and hands to put the club face on the ball, and that causes your arms to straighten out, and it causes your lower body to stop prematurely. I talk a lot about premature acceleration. You don't want to have that. So you have to let everything get almost through the shot before you accelerate at the last moment with the hands and the arms. Another tip to get clearance with your lower body is simply just break your knees at the target. Just break your knees towards the target, and that virtually forces you to keep your head behind the ball and allow your lower body to open up. This is my pseudo greyhound right here. This is my I was on a kick drinking Greyhounds. That's vodka and grapefruit juice. But this is I've been drinking grapefruit juice with soda, and it tastes basically the same. Ever take your clinics on the road? Okay, Pinehurst. Yeah, I'm going to be July 6th. I'm going to be doing a clinic down at the Claw down in Tampa, Florida. And I was talking to my buddies in Texas. I may try and go to Texas in August. And then I'm actually thinking about trying to go to Asia in November. So that would be a really awesome trip. I've got a buddy who's trying to get me to come out there. Austin, yeah. So, maybe I can go to Austin, but I've got my connections in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Okay, let's get down to some more questions. There was a whole ton of questions that were popping up, and I couldn't read them all. Okay, email me, Christo at myswingevolution.com if you had trouble getting your video, because I have a new website built, and it's video on demand. It's no longer downloads. It's where you have your own personal player and you can watch your stuff. Somebody ordered my Ben Hogan documentary, and they're having trouble watching it. Let's see. Oh, okay. I've got something to tell you guys about that I think is super duper cool. Remember how I was talking about my diet is basically low carb and intermittent fasting. But you see, that's like me telling you about the golf swing. It's like I can tell you, hey man, keep your head behind the ball and other stuff like that. That's technical. That's all it is to it. If you wanted to be on a diet, I could say eat less than you expend in calories and you're going to lose weight, right? But why is it so hard? The reason why it's so hard is because people don't have strategies that they can rely on that are going to get them over the finish line. Just to know what the answer is only half the battle. You have to then implement the strategy over the course of time. All the things that I love in the world that give me great value, there's Rory. He just kicked everybody's butt. Congratulations, Rory. All the things that I've valued in my life are things that don't come easily. Okay? I'd rather be a master of chess than a master of checkers, because I'm going to get bored with it. And I'm still obsessed with golf, because golf is so challenging. Golf is freaking hard. That's the whole point of it, is that it doesn't come easily. And that's what makes it such a wonderful thing. And, Barishnikov used to get pissed when he'd walk off stage, even though he did an apparently flawless performance. Because, the bar always rises in anything. Ben Hogan, when he shot the greatest round ever, they say, in the U.S. Open, he says, I only hit 3 perfect shots out there. Whereas to us, it looked like every shot was perfect. So in any one of these super difficult pursuits, you never reach perfection. You try, and that's the great pursuit, But what it is you're trying to perfect your technique in learning. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get better at learning and at practice. So that's what I'm trying to do with my golf game right now. And yeah, but what I was going to tell you about the mental game, like when you talk about how am I going to implement the strategy to lose weight, you have to understand how your mind works. Everybody talks about mindset, and this is going to be a quarter of my MSE fitness program. I am going to make a video that's going to be about diet, exercise, range of motion, and mindset. Okay, it's the mindset that's so important. But the biggest thing from other mindset coaches that I see that they don't talk about is they talk about you got to control your mind, you got to control your thoughts, But to me, that's like saying you got to control your muscles in the golf swing. Well, which muscles? There's hundreds of them, It's like your pecs move your arms like this, your quads move your legs, whatever. The mind is not one thing. The mind is actually multiple different faculties working in conjunction. You have your memory. Okay, so, this morning I saw my two daughters singing choristers in church. What a beautiful memory, But it's not the present moment. The only thing that's real is the present moment. This right now is the only thing that's actually capable of changing my life, is what I'm doing right now. And maybe what I'm saying, if it lands on receptive ears, maybe it can change your life right now too. But the memory is just one component that makes up what we call the mind. The intellect is the major component that most people are usually referring to when they talk about the mind, because the intellect is what allows us to delineate, dissect, break things down so that they're digestible and learnable. That's where you get the world of opposites when you see yin and yang in Eastern cultures. It's your intellect thinks it's running the show. The way we're raised in Western education, K through 12 and college education, is, let's cram as much stuff into our memory and challenge our intellect, and that's basically the only levels that we have. And the danger is when your intellect turns against you. So the reason why I was a crappy golfer for 20 years is because my intellect had turned against me. I'd convinced myself that I knew everything about the golf swing, and I just wasn't a good golfer. That's a losing formula, But when I realized I didn't know anything, and I jumped back into Shoshin, which is a Zen mind, beginner's mind, then I was able to start all over again. There's no pressure. It's like, whatever, big deal if you took lessons with Ledbetter 20 years ago. The fact is, you're a poor golfer, and you need to start over again. So that is the third part of the mind that I would talk about, is the ego. Or rather, let's call it our identity. We create a self-identity, and it's very fragile. And the reason why is, we're growing up and people say things that are hurtful, or maybe we go through different things. So we create what I would call a winning formula, for our life, and then we just don't ever think about it. That program runs our life, our winning formula, and we never take a deep look at it. So my winning formula was 10 years ago. Hey, Chris, you know anything about golf? Yeah, man, I know everything about golf. Nope, no, I didn't. But that was just a story that I'd convinced myself, which is a part of my self-identity. That's area 3. Then there's so many more compartments, that I could talk about. The 3 that I've talked about, those can be broken down into more areas as well. But that's a great part of my exploration of the mind right now, which is really moving into the new arenas that I'm getting into in all of my life. It all comes down to one thing that I want out of my life, and that's greater control. Because that's where my happiness, that's where anybody's happiness comes from, And it's something that you should be able to experience some happiness. I want to feel joy all the time. I want to be blissful. I want to follow my bliss. That, if there's any one example that I could set for people, is follow your bliss. But you have to know where your bliss station is and where you get that feeling of peak experience, you know. And golf has really been such a wonderful thing for me to be able to find that. And, you know, that bliss station in your life where you can feel that you're at your very best. You know, that's what I'm addicted to, you know, and I'm wondering, you know, where it goes next, you know, like I'm, you know, training to be a yoga teacher. I'm learning how to play the piano. I'm, you know, I'm always doing things that I can feel a sense of growth. And I hope that I do that until the day that I'm not here anymore, you know, but today's the day that's so important. When I'm done here, I'm going to go to the gym, and then I'm going to go to yoga this evening, and I'm going to eat right. And I'm going to probably play the piano before I go to bed. And, you know, if I put enough of those days together, let's check back in a year and let's see where I'm at. My swing will probably still be better. I'll be more flexible. I'll be more knowledgeable. Probably be able to play more songs. I'll be in good shape. You know, that's the thing. And the most important thing that I'm talking about, clearing out all the emails out of my head, is I'm not fighting myself anymore. You know, I would say even as recently as, you know, a half a year ago, and especially 3 months ago, like when I told you I decided I was going to drink less, you know, or quit drinking essentially, is, you know, I've been able to be successful to a degree in my life, probably functioning at about half to 60% of my capability. If I was able to utilize 100% of my capability and talent, I mean, it's almost, it's a frightening thought. It can be scary because you realize how much potential is within you. And it's scary because it means, well, it's going to require more of me than I give right now. But if you piss away 40, 50% of the day, then, you know, what's the value in that? There's not much value in that. So all of my days as I'm moving forward, you know, I'm not wasting so much of them. There's so much more good things that are going into the day. And when my head hits the pillow at the end of the night, you know, I'm like, wow, what an awesome day. And then it starts all over the next morning. And you know what I say in the morning? And this is something, you know, I brought up to, you know, my yoga teachers group, was I said, and this is something I've done for a long time, is I say, today's going to be the best day ever. And I put a smile on my face. That starts the endorphins rushing, and we're off to the races. My problem now is I'm waking up after 4 hours in the middle of the night. I'm like, what time is it? Is it time to get up yet? So, like, that's a weird thing. I'm trying to deal with that, you know. But I want to tell everybody that, you know, the world is waiting for you. I got a lot of things off my chest I kind of wanted to share with everybody. I'm so thankful and passionate about the game of golf, and thankful that that I've got this channel and people have watched me improve my golf game. And I hope that these lessons and things have helped you guys too. You know, but that's where my head is at right now. Okay, Telly asked me how my family's doing. Yeah, my family is doing fantastically well. My 2 daughters are very healthy and happy, and they are so much fun. And the one thing that when I say, you know, ask me anything, my wife and I split up three years ago. She's never appeared on my channel. We just, we're going in 2 different directions. I pray, and I pray for her before I pray for my kids. I love her dearly. I want her to be happy. But, you know, it just wasn't working out. And it turned out that it was healthier for the family, you know, for us to not be under the same roof. It was heartbreaking to me. I'm not a quitter. I hold my head high. I don't believe I did anything that was negative towards the family or relationship. But when things are, you know, getting really, really super negative, you know, it wound up that it was healthier for us to not be together. But the kids, I think they are in a better place to not, you know, hear the negative things that were happening in that environment. You know, but that's okay. So, I am a spiritual person. I was raised Catholic, and I don't go to Catholic church right now, but my kids go to a Christian school. But I'm very across the board. Like, I study Zen Buddhism. There's a lot of these amazing Eastern spiritual practices in yoga. So I'm about goodness. I don't want to have negative thoughts towards people. I want to love all things, and I want to have a healthy and happy life for myself and for everybody around me. So that's how I approach my spirituality. And my primary program is my Christian upbringing, and that informs all the other things that I do, if that makes any sense. Let's see here. I got a couple questions there. Something about rotation in the swing. I didn't quite catch it. I think it was something about the hands and the rotation of the swing. So I think the major difference between the way the pros hit their driver now is they have a stronger grip, and I call it a hammer release, where they're not, one of the classic teachings of the classic swing, and I'm all about the classic swing, but this one element, I can't really say that I'm down with it. They used to say, toe up, and then toe up on the follow through here, And it's not the worst thing in the world. It's certainly, when you look at I did a video about the smoothest swingers in golf. They tend to have a very fluid toe up wrist release, Whereas, most of the guys today are hitting more of a drive, hold off kind of release and keeping that face open, So, but yeah, this is, I don't know if anybody has any other major questions about the golf swing or a lot of the things that I rambled on and on about. But I don't think I've ever been this happy in my life. I feel that I'm approaching greater and greater realization of myself as a human being. Mike Austin, I had this. I came up with. I was giving a lesson to Pete Sampras at his house. Can you believe that? And I said, grab onto your opposite hip with your left hand, and that's a great way to get your lower body through the shot. That's the feeling you want to have. And then I saw that Mike Austin actually had that. Driver versus irons. Me, two different swings. Okay. The reason why there's two different swings is because an iron swing, the strike is a descending blow, and with a driver swing, it's level or even on the upswing, especially with the modern drivers. And they used to say that golfers tended to be either a good iron player or a good driver of the golf ball. It was rare to see a person who was both. Jack and Ben Hogan were certainly both. But Tiger, I believe that he's had a lot of problems with his driver. He's driving it a lot straighter now because I think they did his driver setup so that he hits the ball with a 1 degree descending blow. And when he was trying to catch it on the upswing, and I know that feeling, you feel like this thing could go freaking anywhere, but Tiger is one of the few golfers that, hits the ball with a slightly descending blow, and I think that matches up better with his iron swing. I don't have as strong a grip with my irons, so I see my driver swing and my iron swing as two slightly different swings with the same foundational principles, though, of weight shift, hips deep, lower body rotation, balance and balance. Those things all remain the same. I just tweak my setup and my grip that make it a little bit different. So, wow, I've been talking for 39 minutes, trying to keep my upper body back as much as I can on the downswing. I think that's a pretty good idea to work on. I saw Eddie last week, and I've thought about trying to drag him out to the golf course. Not using the grenade driver anymore. I have a Hogan GS53 in my bag. Yeah, ball placement's very important. I play the ball off the tip of my left shoulder with my driver, whereas it's off the left side of my head with an iron. So we're talking that's 4 inches different. Oh my gosh. Justin, keep playing well. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, and John, oh God, I only got part of your question, James, but thanks for getting the MSE golf system, and I'm glad you like it. This MSE golf system thing that I made, man, I've searched high and low everywhere for anything that I'd love to catch up with Brendan again. Maybe I should play him again at El Dorado. I'll tell you something. There is something so funny about that. I actually felt like I was hitting the ball really well at Industry Hills the second time we got together, but gosh, man, playing on camera. Both times I jumped out to like a 3-hole lead halfway through the 9, and then I just got loose. That's the weak-ass competitor in Christo right there. Like, my old karate self would have been foot on the throat, you know. But yeah, I'm just more chill now. I don't need to define my greatness by defeating someone else anymore. That's where I am in my life. You know, I play the guys in these money rounds out at the course, and it's fun, skins and stuff like that. But I don't have a need to, I'm just about the shot. I want each putt, chip, pitch, iron shot, and drive to be the best execution I can create. It's a more artistic kind of thing. It's a more ballet kind of thing. Like, I want to hit 5 perfect pirouettes and end in balance. That's control. That's what I'm saying. My whole life is about control. And you have to overcome your bad habits in order to gain complete mastery. I'm trying to become the master of all phases of my life. And the only way that comes is from being in control. And the only way that you can be in control is to have complete consciousness of what you're doing. Too many of the things that we do in our life are just unconscious. I don't know Mike Malaska, but I'm sure he's pretty cool. Hey, Tom, mastery versus ego. That's kind of funny. I find that my ego gets in the way of mastery. And I'm not a master of anything. I'm not enlightened. I'm just on the path, So a left knee in the transition. I feel I drop my heel, and that makes my left knee move. So somebody asked me if I move my left knee first in the transition. What I do is I de-weight my lead leg, and as soon as my weight moves into that foot, that causes the knee to move left and get into that kind of cowboy, and then the hips, and it's just like Jack Nicklaus told me on his couch. I believe the swing starts from down below, Well, that's Hogan. What am I talking about? He goes from the feet up. He goes, the swing starts from the ground up through the feet and legs. And it's that simple. But again, like I said, it's like I can tell you exactly everything that has to happen in the golf swing, but you have to have the strategy to implement it over the course of time. It won't happen in one range session. You have to do it. That's again, all the things that I value in my life aren't things that just happen easily. All the things worth having are worth working for, because they're the things that reveal your inner self to yourself. So let me give you my last thought about the mind, okay? You are not your thoughts. You are that which can observe your thoughts. You are that can observe the mind. If that makes any sense to you. All this stuff is going on. Your intellect thinks it's running the show. But when you get really quiet, you're the witness that's behind the thoughts. Eckhart Tolle said something funny. He said, when my life changed was the moment that I realized I cannot live with myself. So who is I and who is myself? Myself was his intellect and ego that had turned against him, but he realized there was another entity, I, behind that. And he was able to let that go and find happiness. James, I want to come to the UK. My main man, Tom Swanston, is on this too. I hope that I'll get to visit you guys. Maybe we can set it up. Once this crazy Ben Hogan special, and guys, I'm going to be on Golfers RX. I did a 6-part driver series for Golfers RX. Oh, that S57 ping video I made. Baby, that was the smoothest, simplest swinging. Oh my gosh. And I'll tell you the secret of that night was I allowed my arms to lag maximally. It was the first time I said, fuck it. I'm not going to try and put my arms and hands on the ball. I just let my elbow get behind me, Jim Furyk style, and I just hit it beautifully. So please forgive the French. I had to let it fly there. But okay, Tom, we're going to make this happen. So I'm going to wrap this out because I got other wonderful things to do with my life, and I know that you've got great things to do with your life too. So remember to seize the moment. This reality, this present moment is the only time that you can do anything to improve your life, and everybody can make their life better. And the less emails and chatter you have in your head, the more you can be with your true authentic self, the happier you're going to be. So I hope that you continue to work on your golf game. I hope that you have a good strategy and you have faith that, you know, it's a journey, not a destination. Always remember the joy is in the work, and I wish you all to have a very blessed day. I love you all.